What's up, everyone? So I'll be taking nearly a full week off training next week as I head up to Bandon Dunes on the Oregon coast for a week-long golf trip. So really excited about that. With that trip coming up and also it being the end of June, just thought I'd take a few minutes to look back and reflect on how the last year really has gone. I'm just really happy with where my overall mental and physical health are at. Now, if I go back a year, or really if I go back 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I was in a pretty big rut. The pandemic, taking care of little ones at home. In my case, my mother's passing in 2020, right? It was just a confluence of things that really came together all in rapid succession that kind of led me to this dark place. And I really didn't prioritize myself at all. So I was in pretty bad mental state for a while. Physically, my health was not good. I wasn't exercising regularly. I was just kind of numb to everything for a couple of years. It was last June. It was June 8th, actually, 2023, when I, spur of the moment, decided to hop on the erg in the garage and do a 2,000 meter row. Now, mind you, I had done zero training on the erg for, not exaggerating, years prior to that 2K. I hadn't really been doing much cardio of any sort at all. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but I did it. And that 2K, that 2,000 meter row, was probably the first inkling I had was the first time I thought to myself, hey, you know what? Maybe there's something there. Now I kind of shoved that thought to the back of my mind and didn't act on it really through most of last summer. But around September and October, for whatever reason, I got back on the rower a few more times, not necessarily consistently, certainly not 5-6 days a week, but got a few more rows under my belt and started to feel a little better. And so one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I was on a full-blown 6-day-a-week training plan, logging lots of miles on the rower. And that was really through the last 3 months of 2023. So I started to really increase the volume. I started to see the results of the work, right? I was losing weight. I was just feeling better, feeling like I had more energy, feeling like I had more patience, improved mood. All good signs and just all positive reinforcement that I was on the right track. The first 6 months of this year, there's been a lot of really good progress that I'm really proud of. The training itself isn't always the fun part, but it's seeing the results, right? And not just in terms of erg scores, but seeing the results in terms of my physical health, right? Like when I went for my annual physical a few months back, my blood work was vastly improved from the year or two before, right? So all the physical markers have improved. Certainly my mental health is much better. That being said, cranking out fast erg times has been fun as well, and certainly has kept me motivated from 1 week to the next. If you've followed along with me the last few months, you'll know that I've often cycled through the same workouts over the months, and there are a variety of fairly standard and common erg tests that I've also been cycling through and using as measuring sticks to see how much faster I'm getting. So So where do I go from here? So, to date, 100% of my training has been on the erg. Yes, I've gone for a few runs here and there for a change of scenery. And yes, I have dabbled in getting back into strength training. I would like to do that this fall. I think strength training is long-term going to be important if I want to continue improving. Side note, the reason I had stopped strength training was because I had thought I had a hernia, an inguinal hernia, a couple months ago. I have since learned through a couple consults with surgeons that I actually don't have a hernia, or certainly not one that is anywhere close to requiring surgery. So that's good news. That means I can continue pretty much doing anything activity-wise for now. But anyways, so where do I go from here? So certainly as far as indoor rowing goes, I have more goals that I'd like to tackle through the end of 2024, or maybe even through this coming season. I've only really been back at it for about 9 months. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity to get faster, to get fitter, and to see my times improve. So a lot more work to do there. Largely, honestly, sticking to the same plan that I've been on for the last 9 months. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's been working really well. I would like to see if I can find a way to get back on the water. Having spent all this time indoors on the erg is awesome, but I have been thinking more lately that it would be great, and honestly, a much needed change of scenery if I could find a way to get back on the water, get back in a boat. Now, the challenge is the nearest rowing clubs to me are about 30 to 40 minutes one way. So just logistically, it'll be challenging to make that work, but I just reconnected with actually my freshman year college coach, who's been rowing with a club about an hour away, actually, and a very competitive club as well that races at the head of the Charles every year. So that conversation with him planted the seed of, maybe I set a goal for 2025 of racing at the head of the Charles. Don't know if it will necessarily be with this club where my coach trains, because it is pretty far away, right? The most I'd be able to get out there maybe once a week. And I'm honestly not sure if that would fly with the club, but whether it's with that club or with perhaps one of the other clubs closer to me, that could be a really fun goal to work towards. The challenge will be, figuring out how often I can actually get out on the water, just with my schedule and with our kids' activities, etc. But I have a lot of time to figure that out. At least, though, the fitness is there, right? If I can continue putting in the work on the erg to keep myself in shape or even get faster, I'd like to think that maybe a master's club out there will be willing to take a flyer on me and give me a shot. So anyways, that I'm excited about that. Gives me a nice secondary goal to look forward to for next year. I may shoot for a couple indoor rowing competitions as well. I likely will this coming winter, just depending on how fast I think I can get. So yeah, overall, I really am incredibly thankful. You'll have heard me say in past videos, there truly are no bad workouts. Even if I have an off day or things don't go according to script, I try and recognize each and every day that I'm just blessed to be able to train, period, to stay injury-free, which, when you're pushing 40, injuries start to become a real consideration, right? Just blessed that I have the time in my busy life to be able to train, right? I don't take any of this for granted. So certainly I owe a big thank you to my wife, Hien, who's been incredibly supportive of me on this journey. Numerous friends and family who have supported me along the way as well, some of whom have even coaxed me through some of my 2Ks this past winter. And last but not least, big thank you to all the folks that I've connected with online over the last few months. There is a far bigger indoor rowing community online than I ever would have thought. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of plug myself into that community. And because most of us are training on our own, right? In our garages, in our backyards, just putting in the miles. And it can be a very solitary, lonely endeavor, right? So having that community has been huge for me to help keep me motivated, share my progress, and also enjoy seeing the progress that others are making as well, right? We're all just trying to get faster and fitter, healthier at the end of the day. It's hard to believe how much has happened in the last 6 months, where I was January 1st compared to now. Gets me really excited to think about what might be possible, the next 6 months and even through 2025. So lots more to come. As always, until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep chasing. Peace.